We're talking about practice. My name is Greg. You're watching How to Play Paintball. All right, guys. So I actually just got back from the gym. So sorry if you can smell me through the computer there. But for this video, I wanted to go over how to run a practice. Now, this is just my opinion on ways that practices should be run. If you found that something works better for your team, by all means do that. I'm not saying that this is the only way to do practice, but this is a way that I feel that you're going to be very successful with the time that you have. Usually paintball, we're only able to play once, maybe twice a week. If you play a 2-a-day on Saturday and Sunday. Some people are lucky enough to be able to play throughout the week, so that's going to change things up a little bit. But I also understand that not everybody has the budget that, Damage or Heat or Impact have, where they can buy, or shoot like 120 cases over a weekend or whatever it is. Some of you are only able to buy, one case for the day, or, maybe if you're lucky, get a deal and be able to get two, and you can have a little bit longer of a practice. But I wanted to go through the different types of practices that you can have. So let's talk about right before an event. So usually the layout for a tournament is released about 2 weeks before. So let's just say that, like the NXL, they release the layout 2 weeks before the tournament, and then you're able to start practicing on it. For the very first layout, first layout weekend, what you want to do is just try stuff. That's the weekend that obviously before that, you should have already been looking at the layout, figuring out what is it exactly that we can do, what could I do on this field, what is a very important bunker, what isn't an important bunker, looking at the layout and trying to figure out what is going to be the most effective side of the field. Maybe it's up the center. There's a lot of different variables when a new layout comes out. Once you actually get to that first weekend, you want to start out with just quick 5-10 second breakouts. This way you're not using a lot of paint. Basically you're setting up, they say 5 seconds, you set up, somebody blows a whistle or whatever, you're going against another 5 guys, and you're just trying things. I did this when I was over with Prime, when we were practicing against PC Katana's pro team, and we did this. It was just a matter of, I'm just going to try this, let me try to run here, let me try to run and shoot and then dive over this way. Try all those things out, all those things that over the week, not the weekend, that you had seen that might have been a possibility. Those are the things that you want to go ahead and try. Who knows? You might be able to find that a weird run up the center and then dive over completely works. Who knows? You really have no clue until you actually try it. The next part with that is that you're figuring out what kind of a play you can put together with, okay, I've made this spot 3 times in a row, or, I've made it about 75% of the time, so it's still usable. If they're not sure that I'm going to go there, I should be able to make it every time. Things like that. You want to figure out what's going to be most effective for you. Try to play both sides of the field, play up the center. Try to figure out where you are most effective, because sometimes you might be a Dorito player on one layout, and then you find that you're a better snake player on the next layout, or maybe you're better up the center. You need to go where you're most effective. Some people, they're always going to be most effective in the snake. That's where they're always going to go. But for X-Ball especially, you want to make sure that you are effective in different areas. The next part about this is with that first layout weekend, after you've done these breakout drills and figuring out what works, start ironing things out. Then what you want to do is maybe do some lower body situations. Do like 3-on-2s with a minute and a half to close out the point, something like that. This way you're figuring out what bunkers you can use to block yourself out from other bunkers, as well as what are the bunkers on the field that I know I can defend from if, let's say that there's only 30 seconds left and, we're up by 1 or 2 points and we just need to hold and win this game. Well, if I know I go here and here, like on the Texas layout, this past NXL event, the little wing on this, the little W on the snake side and the Dorito 2, if you got to those bunkers, pretty much you could cross up, and it's really tough to break. So we did drills where we had 2 guys there, and then we had another 3, and they had to try to break that cross. They had to try to figure out the way to to break through that. So doing drills like that are going to help with figuring out, okay, well, if I can kind of shadow or block out this other bunker and shoot this guy and then close out this way. So those are some things that you can do. And again, it's not going to take a lot of paint. Actually, this past weekend when I was practicing with the team, we were doing some 3-on-2s, and that you had a minute to close it. The 2s were able to have a pod and a hopper, while the 3s only had a hopper. This way you're getting everything, okay, I need to really push, and then being able to figure out, okay, when I need to sit back, what do I need to do? So that would be the first day, maybe the first 2 days, where you can really figure out what works. Maybe by that second day on the layout, like let's say you had a 2-a-day practice, so you had Saturday and Sunday. Let's say Sunday you could probably start doing some games and scrimmaging against teams, figure out exactly what's going to work, or you can scrimmage against yourselves and start ironing out what plays work. Okay, this didn't work and this guy can shoot me here. That's when you can start figuring all that out. Going to the next weekend. So this is now the weekend before the tournament. This is crunch time. So this is when you really need to grind. You really need to just grind it out and figure out what is going to work. By this point, you guys should have already talked about what it is that has worked for you and being able to iron out like 3, maybe 4 plays. These are ones that I think can work, or this was working when we did the breakouts. Okay, let's try it. Now, this is when you want to talk with another team, somebody that you trust. You don't want to go against a team that's just going to be cheating, because it doesn't help anybody. Not even the team that's cheating. Like, that's great that you won, but you wiped 3 times in the match. It's just annoying. There's really no point to it. Let's say that you find your scrimmage partners, another team that you can scrimmage against. You go out there. You do want to try to spend a little bit more money on paint. This way you can get a little bit longer of a practice. You're able to really iron out what exactly works. Those 2 days, you just want to be trying things. So once you're able to get those 3 or 4 plays from the weekend before, okay, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And then you can start figuring out that mid-game to end-game situation. And really ironing out what is going to be the best in what situation. Then something that you can start doing is, okay, let's try a hold pattern. Let's try to play more of the pocket, kind of sit back a little bit more. Now at this point, let's really try to push the snake side, really try to push the Dorito side, really try to push up the center. This way you can figure out what you need to do, because what if you play against a team that is really snake heavy and you need to counter that? Well, if you need to go snake heavy, then you need to do that. Or if you want to switch it up and go Dorito side heavy, your team already knows what exactly needs to happen for each of those situations. So that's going to be something that helps you out. And then ultimately, once you get done with those practices, figure out, what are the last couple holes that you need to plug. Okay, I know for next weekend with the tournament, I need to make sure I'm watching out for this, whatever it is. You as a player need to figure that out. What is it that I need to watch out for? What are the mistakes that I made that I need to fix? For the other weekends, so let's say that this isn't it's 2 weeks after a tournament. Maybe you guys took a weekend off after a tournament and you're getting back into it. Something that I would recommend doing, actually with all of them, is warming up as a team. So take a lap around the field, stretch as a team. Don't do individual stuff. You guys are a team. You need to work together. From there, what I would recommend is maybe do some laning drills, some running and gunning drills. A lot of these need to be drills. Do situationals. Like I said, this past weekend, they were getting ready for a tournament, but I would recommend doing this regardless, where you go and have a 2-on-1 situation where you have a minute to close it out and it's only the Dorito side, or you do a race to the 50 or race to their 40 Dorito. That's one that we did this past weekend, and you only had a hopper. So again, you have these low paint situations where it's almost like you're closing out a point, because you're not going to have a lot of paint at the end of the point usually. Most of the time, just be ready for it. If you only go and you can do this with a hopper, well, when you have 2 more pods on your back, if you happen to have that, just makes it a lot easier. The other thing, guys, make sure you're having fun. If you want to close out with a stupid point or a stupid let's just go screw around, damage sometimes, they'll do, what's it called, recon? No. Insertion, or they call it something like that, where basically it's like 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, and once you get shot, you have to run back to the starting gate and you tag up, and then the next guy goes and breaks out. You can't cross the 50, so you can't just like run down and then just post and wait for the guy to come out. but just go and screw around. When I practiced with the Ironmen, they did a game called Butt Nose. Don't ask me where that name came from. I had no clue. All I know is that I was playing a point, and then all of a sudden they started playing Butt Nose, which was pretty much shoot everybody. It's every man for himself. Just run around, screw around, have fun, shoot at each other, and maybe it's some of the last bag of paint that you have, and it's like you can't really get a point out of it. You can't really, just go have fun. Go play in the woods a weekend. Go and play a scenario event. These are things that are going to help you with getting out of that burnout mentality. This is something that I'm not perfect at. I can beat myself up over mistakes when I just need to let them go. And I recommend the same thing for you guys, where you make a mistake at practice, it's okay. Make a mistake once. That's not a problem. It's when you start making it multiple times, that's when it becomes an issue. But even then, just fix it. That's what practice is for. Practice is for mistakes. So don't beat yourself up over things like that. But you want to make sure that you're having fun. Go and mess around at the end. I know the Palm Beach Vipers would do that for a while. I don't know if they still do it, but they would go and play that like insertion whatever, and it was pretty much just run around and shoot at each other, have fun, and then end out the day, and then you're all laughing at the end of it or whatever. It's pretty much that no hit counts. That's pretty much what all those are. But yeah, I remember one time we played what was it? Civil War. We called it Civil War, where you can only you could run with a pod, but you didn't have a hopper, and you had to put one ball in at a time. The other variation of this is you have to put it at the end of your barrel and then push your swab down the barrel so it actually goes down into the breech, and then you're allowed to shoot. It's just a stupid game, but you're able to run around. You're trying to one ball at somebody. I was trying to put like 3 in the stack and like try to shoot a couple. You're just messing around, just having fun, and because you don't want to lose that when it starts becoming too much work. Like, yes, there is a time that you need to focus and get to work, but if you're not having fun, then you're just going to get burnt out. And this is an issue that, like I said, I had actually in Dallas. I was putting too much pressure on myself and all this stuff when I just needed to go, let's just go have fun. I know I can go play. I know how to play paintball. I know, that I can beat these guys on the other side of the field. Like, don't be cocky about it, but be confident. I know that I'm a good player. So just go out and do it. That's all I had to do. But I was putting all this extra pressure on myself when that wasn't necessary. So ultimately, these other weekends, you want to go and have drills. Drills are essential. It's good to play games, play a couple points. Drills are more important during these weekends, though. They're going to help you out. You'll notice a difference when you're actually playing in those matches. For a layout, I would highly recommend doing more drills than points on those off weekends. But guys, I hope that these pointers help you out. I know I'm sorry that it's just like a white background. I know you guys had asked for some more low paint drills, so I'm going to be working on stuff. We actually have 2 more weeks. Like I said, I'm a middle school teacher, so we have this week and then Memorial Day we have off, and then that week is our last week. So after that, I am working like a part-time job over in the summer. It's at a local paintball field over here. But I'll have more time to be able to do videos and do all that stuff. So I'm sorry that it's been a little bit slower in the videos, I guess you could say, but I do appreciate you guys coming along with me. There is some cool stuff in the works. I can't tell you what it is just yet, so but there was some cool stuff that was discussed, yeah, so we'll see what the future holds with that. And then there's something else hopefully in the works. God willing, that'll happen. But I can't talk about that one either. So I'm sorry, guys. You can guess all you want in the comments. I'm not going to respond to those. I'm just going to say maybe. I can't disclose those things. So, but be on the lookout for that. If you haven't bought one of the tank tops yet, be sure to go over to ruthlesspaintballproducts.com. You can get them all there. It's $5 flat for shipping, regardless of however many shirts you buy. So if your whole team wants to get a bunch of tank tops, now it's starting to heat up. Sun's out, guns out. Let's go and have some fun. So, guys, thank you again so much for coming along with me. And as always, remember, watch, learn, win. Thanks.